Well, today's battery day. We're going to be talking about batteries. Now, we're not going into building our own batteries, although we might kind of get to that. I've been planning on using standard RC batteries. These are way too big. I'll show you the size I've been actually using. If I build some, these LiPo 3.7 volt 1500 milliamp batteries. Focus. These are pretty good. Might be able to go with that. We're gonna build these pods today, and what's cool about the pods is you can take them off, so we can swap batteries at the pit stop. We left off last episode with the arrow. We've got these front and rear wings. These wings are going to make this car hug the road. If you look at it, this is really going to increase its aero efficiency. What we're going to add this time is this time we're going to add the pods, or what I like to call them, battery pods. Battery pods have a battery in them, just like that. Now, not 100% sure we're going to go with these batteries. They're not quite powerful enough to power everything in here, and there's going to be some problems shipping these batteries as well as charging them. So we might go to something like this and reconfigure the pods, battery pods, but we're not quite sure yet, so we'll have to do that later. Sometimes these engineering things we need to push off. So the reason we call them battery pods is because when you have a pit stop, you can swap them on and off. And there's the two connectors to power the whole car. And you have a pit stop, You can just pop it on, pop it off. Let's build a pod that we're going to put the batteries in. And we have our other pod, and oops, what did I do? Well, that took way longer than it should have. Sometimes I find those very confusing. I'm going to have to post the directions to this so that even I can follow it, apparently. So there it is. We got 4 pods. That's how a pod goes onto car. You get 2 of those, they snap on, and they plug into power like so. We've got to be careful with power because we don't have an on and off switch. We're going to have one of those soon. I'm not a professional, so don't do what I'm doing. But if you do anything, you want to have a good battery charger, something like this, and you want to put the batteries in a fireproof container, unlike what I did when I had the battery fire, and you zip it up. Now, one of the reasons I didn't use a battery bag is because I didn't like it getting kind of hot in here. So they have other battery charging boxes. There's one called a bat box. I still haven't got one. I'd like to get one of those. But these work pretty good, and there's always the trusty ammo box. So my point is, you don't listen to me. Use a good battery charger. Use some sort of fireproof container when you charge your battery, and charge away from things. That was the big thing I didn't do, is I charged right next to a cardboard box next to my workbench. And I got a 4-foot high flame and took out a bunch of kind of expensive equipment. It set me back a little bit. So, not so much fun. The reason I don't like this battery charger is I think it has some bugs. I thought I was using it right. There's an option to choose balance, and you plug the white connector as well as where the power comes. This is where the main amperage and the full voltage comes out. Now, each one of these wires connects to the individual batteries, and one of them is basically ground. So you can tell how many cells a battery has is because the n number of wires minus 1. And in this case it equals 3. There's 3 cells. So through this, it monitors each cell for voltage because they can be different voltages. And you plug that in here and then plug the main power one in there, and it sends the juice to this one and it monitors it through this one. So the circuitry that I was expecting to be in here and is in other batteries like drill batteries and, you know, standard DeWalt or whatever, that's living in here. And you also need to choose the right options. So if you slip up, you can have problems like I did. Also, these wires aren't really quite long enough to put everything inside. I mean, kind of. Other battery chargers, this plugs right into the side. So without extension, that's why I think I'm going to go with these 1850 batteries or something similar to it, because you just plug them into a charger and they're fairly inert. I need it to be reliable. This, I actually have more batteries than this, but these were the ones that I bought for this project and tried to fit into the car. Those are a battery I have for a different project. These are awesome. These I tried to use. These are standard RC car batteries, but they're just a little... Let's start off with this. There's the original car. Actually, let's back up. There's the original car. I first added the motor and the servo motor to it, which required elongating it, making it a tiny bit wider, rebuilding the front end completely. The back end actually is 80% the same. By the way, sorry for all the wind. There's a huge storm coming through. The pods have changed quite a bit. So this is kind of revision 1. So the front end, again, this is the same front end as that one. Up to here, it's about the same. The rear end is, like I said, about 80% of the same. And then everything in between here has changed. What we tried to do was figure out what, sort of batteries and orientation. We knew that we had to have the motor, which is right there, the servo motor for steering right there. The ESC is right in the bottom right here, and we could have shifted the ESC to the side, maybe the motor. We're still going to have to address some of this with the gearing, but it worked best if we split the battery into 2 batteries, which is why these didn't work. Well, they could work. I take it back. They're just a little tall. We might need more power than what I ended up with, and we'll have to see how it works. These are obviously too big. Good for testing. And these other batteries, and some of these are 2-cell and 3-cell batteries, and these are what I ended up with, and I changed out those. Let me show you how I did that. We can modify it so it could fit these larger batteries, but they are quite a bit higher. There's a little bit we could go down a couple bricks. So that could work. We may have to go with those. Those are, what are these? Are these 3? No, those are 2 cells. Yeah, see, the weird thing is these are 3 cells. Those are 2 cells. Those actually don't work because we need a 12 volts. So we went with, currently going with 2 of those. Now, one thing I want to talk about is, here's this battery. This is a 3-cell. I mean, look at this. This is 1,000 milliamps, and this is a 2,000 milliamp battery. In the same size. And I was charging it 3-cell. It doesn't say it's 3-cell, but it's a 3-cell because it's 12 or 11.1 volts. And I don't think these have the right circuitry, protective circuitry, because it doesn't make sense what happened. Oh, interesting. So they're pouch style batteries. Do not bend these. I wonder if those are pouch style. Those must be pouch too. Interesting. Okay, so there is a little chip in there. Ha! That's what I thought. No chip. So that's a dangerous battery. I'll put a link to that below where I bought that. And yeah, that's a dangerous battery. But now I'm really curious about that. Let's see what one of these has. Wait. Two cell. Okay, so they have, yeah, there we go. What the heck? No protective circuits. So any of these batteries could have a fire when charging or discharging very, very, very easily. I'm not even going to bother with these. I'm pretty sure that one doesn't have one either. These, we're almost done with 1.0, what we're calling 100% brick card. There's one more video to go, and we're going to wrap up this series, and then we're going to get to just fixing bugs as well as enhancing the software beyond just the basic software that we've already written to make the car go. We're going to tie it into the cloud. With the cloud, we're going to be able to do a lot more things, so stay tuned for that. This wraps up battery day, so hope you enjoyed and learned something. Thanks for watching.